Man, it's been a while since we had something like really big and kind of wow to review on this channel. Hopefully something will come by soon. That'll do. Yes, greetings programs. Welcome back to ArcNeo Reviews, where we are taking a look at the Haslab Deathsaurus. Full disclosure, my recording setup is not super well equipped to go over everything with this guy. He's huge. This thing's insane, but still wanted to get him in front of the camera, talk about him at least as best as I can. I did also want to say major thanks. My buddy Tim actually last year helped make sure that I could actually get a hold of this guy. So it's because of him I'm able to do this. So thank you. But let's go ahead and get right on into this. We have Deathsaurus threatening to knock over the backdrop yet again. This thing is so stinking cool. So big. As you can see, we're starting him out on his throne because it is just the easiest place for me to start. It's also how I had him displayed already. The throne itself has a lot to talk about, so we will do that in a moment. First thing, I just want to get this out of the way, is there is a special thing you have to do to get him to sit in the throne with his knees. And that is this little gold section here actually folds out, and you can see right there, this piece is normally tabbed in to the back side of this. In order to make him sit in the throne, you put him in the throne with his legs straight out, untab this section, and then bend at what is normally a transformation joint. So that's what you're going to have to do to get him into the throne. To get him out, you're going to straighten his leg back out until you can get this piece pegged back in and re-engage the actual ratcheted part of the knee. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to do that. Get his knees put back together here. And we're going to move him out of the way and take a moment just to talk about the throne, because the throne does a whole lot. Okay, so the throne itself is quite big. It does actually peg on to his display base that I know has been out of frame so far. The throne, it's got this really cool, like, kind of airbrushed, faded paint job. So this isn't just shadows. Like, it is genuinely a darker purple on the lower section and fades up into this more maroon, raspberry, whatever you want to call it, color. There is a cutout in the back here for the bird head that sits on the back of his robot mode, which is always handy. You've got these little kind of claws hanging out in certain spots. Got a big old Decepticon insignia on top. There are two tabs up here that peg into the feet of one of the two Breastmasters, I think they're called, that this guy comes with. We'll stick him up there later, but right now, just know that, yeah, there's a guy you can put up there. And then the coolest part of this throne is actually the back side of it, because they have incorporated some of the most comprehensive accessory storage I've ever seen back here. So you've got, and this is a little tricky to do because I have to actually hold the camera while I'm doing this. You have the shield, which is also the Beast Mode's tail, with its removable / adjustable handle. You've got his living metal destroying cannon, which we will get to in a bit as well. You have his big ball and or spiked ball and chain, Um, like, I think the only real gripe I have with this whole set is the fact that this is a plastic chain. It would have been really cool if they could have used a thin metal one, but and especially given the price of this whole set, but that's very, very minor. You also have a arrow. It's got 2 tabs going in right there, as well as his ridiculously big scimitar that has a little shape cut out there to go over that. So they took what they did with the Studio Series Coronation Starscream and just dialed it up to 1,000,000 on this thing, and it's really nice. You've got like little ledges up here that will actually like lock in, at least mostly, the entirety of the beast mode head into the back of the throne, so he's very secure sitting in this thing. And then actually for the base itself, if I can do this, you just have 4 posts in the bottom of this going into the 4 spots down there. You've also got this section here, which, yeah, we're going to have to freehand a lot of this review, so hopefully no one with motion sickness is watching. Which is for this piece. This is almost identical to the one that came with Starsaber. In terms of function, it is identical. You've got this one that pegs directly into the back of him, and a little slot right here. So you can slide this thing in like that, display him standing up. You can slide it in this way, and then this piece is actually its own little piece. This pegs on into his back. This is more for the beast mode. You can put this on whichever of the 8 directions you want. Display him on there. It's a big display base. The chair is the only thing that really makes this base different from the one that came with Starsaber, though. So I'm not going to go over this in too much detail. I'm also really not going to talk about his blast effects for a whole lot of time, because they are the same blast effects that we got with Starsaber and a couple other figures, actually. I want to say these started back with Siege Jetfire. But yeah, instead of getting them in green, you get them in this actually pretty neat looking pink. And credit where it's due, this is actually the least bent blast effects I've ever pulled out of a package. I've never been able to get some of these ones with Starsaber to straighten out fully. So, not something we didn't already have, at least to some degree, but still a good execution of it. But at the same time, that does also set up a little bit of a running theme here, where basically everything about this guy is handled better than Starsaber was. Now, full fairness, this is a much simpler figure than Starsaber was. He has a lot more accessories and craziness like that, but the core robot himself is simpler. But they still handled so many things better, including the included Micromasters. So, with Starsaber, we got these 2 guys, which are just the same pair of Micromasters we had already gotten like 6 times at that point. Just molded in... I mean, to be fair, the car looks decent, but the red they used on the fire engine is like oddly desaturated. Actually, it's kind of messing with the camera, trying to focus on it even. The paint on him is it's not that they did a horrible job with the paint, just the colors are kind of weird. And this arm just does not want to actually peg in correctly. But with Deathsaurus, we actually get 2 completely new Micromasters, not Minicons. Micromasters. And they're actually really, really good. They have a little bit, just a tiny bit, but a little bit more engineering than most Micromasters. I believe these guys do go with the 2 from Starsaber to make like a proper team of them. I don't know my Micromasters very well. I'm not one to speak on that. I'm not even sure what their names are. Here they are on the screen after I went and bothered to look them up. They're Micromasters. They're tiny. They're cool. Got this little ambulance guy. Both of these are, well, the engineering on them is very clearly just Micromaster engineering. They are still completely unique molds and sculpts, which is awesome. This guy transforms much as you would expect, just with the new added step of, if I can remember which way you're supposed to do it, folding out little feet. Everything else about him is pretty standard Micromaster fare. I'm unable to get in there to see if his head can rotate. It probably does. My phone does not like trying to review these super, super tiny guys. You know, it nothing, world shattering or anything, but hey, good little Micromaster. And then we've got this guy, which I was actually way too excited about him. I'm still very excited about him just because it's a boat. We do not get enough boat transformers. This guy is actually done very, very well. Still the same kind of basic Micromaster transformation you expect. He actually folds out heels instead of feet. But, while not being anything, again, this isn't going to change the world, especially if I drop it, but still a very, very nicely done little Micromaster. This guy's really neat. I love that head sculpt. So, the Micromasters are great. Next, really quick, we will go ahead and take a look at the Living Metal Destroying Cannon, I believe this is called. Here it is, just folded up for storage. It's got a little slot right here to peg it into the back of the throne. To get it ready for him, just go ahead, straighten it out on this double hinge till this locks in place. The handle will usually fold itself out, but it does fold up down there for storage. This little slot is pegging in up here for the stored up mode. Go ahead and bring this part down. You can go ahead and adjust the weird spider legs however you want. Front and back are blast effect compatible because duh. Most of it is actually, as best as I can tell, actually molded in this pale blue and then painted with this kind of matte black and silver and everything. So hopefully the paint will stay durable, but I do appreciate that the actual tabbing sections, they left unpainted just to not bother, because frankly, yes, that is a case where it is smart to not bother. Generally speaking, Transformers fans would rather have something unpainted than something where it's going to flake off. So, there's that thing. To give it to him. Let's go ahead. See if we can get him into the shot, kind of, sort of. Gonna go ahead and just bend that chest wing out of the way for simplicity. Straighten out his hand. Open it up. Straighten out the arm. This is actually kind of like the big blaster that Starsaber came with, where it's meant for a completely straight arm. There's a little slot here in the back of the hand that the tabs on the back side of the blaster will slot into. And then the two tabs that are up here actually will also slot into his shoulder. So, tab everything in, close it up. And there you go. There you've got Deathsaurus wielding the stupidly huge rifle that he comes with. It's so goofy. It's so cool. I love it. While I've got him holding this, let's go ahead and really quickly, as quickly as you can, dealing with things that are this huge, bring in Star Saber for a quick side-by-side shot here. They do look very, very cool together. I've still got Star Saber on his stand. I'm not going to go through all of his modes for comparison with this guy. This guy has way more modes. This guy only has to deal with 2, thankfully. I like that, frankly. Worth noting, by the way, I guess, Star Saber, we know there were issues with it. I still like this guy, and funny enough, this is not a returned one. Like, this is still the original Star Saber they shipped out. I did not have the weird, like, hip ratchets and stuff that a lot of people had. Like, the one little flake I had on his chest didn't bug me. The paint was all fine enough. Wasn't worth the hassle. So, like, I'm still dealing with an original, unupgraded kit, Star Saber. I'm still perfectly happy with them. But, again, there's so much they did better with this guy. They're roughly the same height when you've got this guy in full. I guess technically right now he's not Star Saber, he's Victory Saber because he has Victory Leo on him. I always get that part wrong. He's on his stand, so he's like a little bit taller, cheating wise, but they scale very, very well to each other. They look good. They both got the big giant guns and stuff, so that's all really, really fun. Okay, so slight lighting adjustment, try to get him a little better in shot. We'll go ahead and look at least a couple of his accessories really quick. The sword pegs into the hand exactly the same as the rifle did. So go ahead, get that slotted into the back of the hand there. Close the fingers up. Really, really good connection on the stuff once you slip it in his hand like that. The ball and chain does the exact same thing. I don't think it's really worth showing that on its own. So, for the shield, you're going to take this little piece. You've got the tab here used for storing this in the back of the throne. Then you've got two ports there. Go ahead and pick your port for plugging this in. Now, if you mess with it, you can get some poses to work using the sideways port like this. This is more meant for storage as well as something else when we go into the alt mode. So, generally speaking, you're going to use that front port there. And actually, easier to make him hold this if you just get this in his hand first. If you're having trouble getting it into the slot in the back of his hand, which I am purely from like distance and having a recording set up between me and him, the fingers are actually a nice tight joint, so that's enough to hold things on their own. So you can go ahead, give him a shield like that. No real accessory storage in the robot mode, which tiny bit of a bummer, but also makes sense. And before we actually go into this guy himself, check out his transformation and the posability and stuff, we still have two more robots to look at, because this guy is a Breastmaster. He is a double Breastmaster, in fact. So, this guy comes off and is its own robot. And then if you come back here, just pull up the bird head. You've got a little hole in here you can push through. And pop out his other Breastmaster, and that will swing down the little spring-loaded door there. So, I believe for these two guys, they're like just called Leo breast, and eagle breast, something like that. Again, I'll check proper names as we're going and put it on screen. This guy is, besides being very droppable, apparently, this is basically just a bigger, fancier laser beak with like one extra mode. That being, if you fold down this portion like that, open the wings for just a second, fold these out, fold the wings back up. It's a rifle thing. Yay! It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all. It's fun that it can do it, but it is pointless. So we'll go ahead, fold the wings out all the way this time. Get in here and rotate out the wingtips. There is this little like spot right there where there's like a little nub of plastic. It's hard to show it, but there's a little nub coming up here, swinging into that, so it kind of holds in place. Go ahead and fold out his feet. Here you can see those two ports. These are used to flip him or stand him on the back of the throne, as we mentioned earlier. I mentioned. Fold up the head and fold this piece all the way up. And there you go. There you have your not laser beak. We swear it's not laser beak. He looks good. He looks really good. Obviously, if you want, you can go ahead and fold the guns away, have him just be standard burb. I believe the beak does open if you can get in there to open it. Like I'm looking at the hinge, but trying to get in there is probably going to scratch the paint. And so, yeah, I can't get in there to do it. I don't have anything handy to act as a spudger, but the beak does open. The head rotates. Got little ball joints here on the legs. There is a pinned joint here on the feet as well. So you've got some motion there. I just realized I forgot to fold out his tail feathers. How dare I? How dare I? There. Now you have eagle breast. Again, I'm hoping that's his name. I can't remember. But, you know, it's small. It's simple. He does what he needs to. And he goes on top of the throne just like that. And looks pretty neat. Then you have your Leo breast, lion breast, tiger breast, griffin breast, kitty breast. Kitty titty. This guy obviously is the more obvious of the two Breastmasters that this guy comes with. You can actually completely remove these chromed out parts if you want. They are just pegged on here. Once pegged on, they do hold very tight. I'm going to risk leaving them on for everything here. I believe this is better done chrome, just overall, than it was on Victory, Leo, whatever, Saber Man. But go ahead and get this guy into his lion mode first off. Go ahead and, so I believe you move them. I know these have a joint. I just can't remember which way that joint moves. So give me 1 second. There's a lot of this guy that is still very, very tight. Because obviously this is a figure that just came out. And they actually put some quality into it. So the joints actually hold and feel really good. But you do have to once in a while like actually push on something to get it to move. Then let's see, somewhere in here. All right, back here. fold out his tail, put this away. And there you go. There you've got the weird little griffin thing. It's weird. It's very weird, but it works. You got joints on the legs, at the knees. Joints up here for these knees as well, and then a limited ball joint for the shoulder there. Again, like these little tiny guys, there's not a ton to say. I can actually get this one's mouth to open sometimes, thanks to the extra tab there, but again, tight joints. So, I'm not willing to fight with it all night, but yes, he does have an opening mouth. This guy also has a weapon mode that I will actually have to go take him off camera for just a second to get him in, because I can't remember how to do it, so I'll be right back. Okay, went and checked. To get him into the weapon mode, all you're going to do is take him from the chest mode with the wings folded out like this. Go ahead and fold this section down. That will reveal a slot right there. Come back here, pull this section out, fold it flat. This little T-shaped spot will peg in right there underneath the tiger head. I did take a moment to check. This is tiger breast. So, yay, we finally know. I'm sure plenty of people knew before me. Go ahead, take the front little smaller tab here on the arrow. That will go ahead and slot in right there. Then actually, to have this guy wield it, you're going to use these two slots right here in the back side of his arm, and these two pieces right here will actually slot in. So, gonna have to have his arm quite a ways out to do that. And here, I know you can't really see much anything. I'm trying to see if we can pose him at least a little bit there. No. Back in. This video was a mess. This is what happens when you are trying to shove a figure into your recording setup that is far too big for your recording setup. But, yeah, there you go. There you have him doing his, using tiger breast for the bow and arrow mode. Worth noting also, the arrow, of all things, does in fact have storage. You can use the longer tab here and actually peg it in on either side of his back. So that's kind of neat. Like, I guess if you wanted to, you could also like store the mace back here. Guess it doesn't quite fit in there. I mean, you can always just do that. Just shove a mace in the back of the bird head. There you go. And actually, while I'm thinking about it, there is a way to do the sword back here. So I take back what I said about there not being like, there's not full weapon storage back here, but you can store some of the things on his back, which is nice. But let's go ahead, get these out of here, and then do our best to actually cover the insanity that is this guy. So, one thing to mention about this guy, when you get him out of the box, his shoulders are pegged straight like this. The friend that I unboxed this guy with, he and I spent several minutes looking at each other, just going, Unga bunga? Unga bunga. No Unga bunga. Because, and it seems to be like just a common thing. This tab, the very first time you have to use it, is incredibly tight. So you will want to just grab it and just slowly put increasing pressure on there until it eventually pops out. It does become much more manageable after that very first time of getting the joint out. But that first time is very, very terrifying. Most first times are in general. So, posability on this guy is really, really good. Here, we'll lean him down so he's actually looking at the camera. So you can see that the head can go down and up a bit. Tiny bit of side to side, not much. Does not actually have a full rotation, which on one hand is weird, but on the other hand, you don't need full rotation on heads. So the head does everything it needs to. The wings fold forward, fold back. They have a hinge up here to fold out like that. Shoulders, once you get them broken free, can move way, way out. Ratcheted rotation all the way around. There is a bicep swivel right there on that double mushroom. A little bit past 90 degrees of bend at the elbow. Wrist rotation. And then the hands are done a little bit weird. I think it's specifically so he can't do anything, mean or naughty. But, well, generally when you're moving his hands, they will move, all these fingers will move as a unit. They are actually two separate pieces. So you can move the pinky and ring finger separate from the index and middle fingers if you want to for whatever reason. Very shocking bit of articulation on this guy. There's an ab crunch. It's not a lot of one, but it's there. And you never see like ab crunches in official Transformers. So that is one heck of a surprise, actually. Waist rotation, as you would expect. Just a nice, solid hinge. It's not anything ratcheted. There's a lot of ratchets on this guy, but they didn't put any in places it wasn't needed, which I'm okay with. Side skirts do fold out. They're quite stiff on mine still, but side skirt and front skirt folds out so that he can kick forward, kick back, do the splits and then some. Fold those back down. There is a thigh swivel right there. You've got a ratcheted knee. Goes like just past 90 degrees. Obviously, if you use the joint there for the chair mode, you can get just that little bit of extra if you want to. Feet. You have the traditional rocker. You have some forward and back, not a whole lot. It's mainly the transformation joints getting involved there, but you can still tweak how the foot is if you want. It's weird reviewing something this big. His wings are trying to once again knock over the backdrop. This thing's huge. This thing's super cool. This video is jank because of how big he is. I apologize. But at the same time, I kind of don't, because I feel like that's part of what makes this guy so fun. No, he's not a titan or anything. But he's big, stupid fun, and I love him. So, let's go ahead and get this guy into his final mode. The Angry Turkey. I don't know what else to call it. That's what I call it. He turns into an Angry Turkey. So, you're going to start by coming up here, taking his horns and actually moving them in one click like that. Then fold up the Angry Turkey head. You've got these two clips that are going to slot in on either side of the robot head. Like that. Just so I don't forget, go ahead and fold out the knees there. Go ahead and at least do part of the arm transformation now. Let's come up in here, fold this section open. You can see this spot here that's tabbing in right there to hold the wrists in place. But go ahead, if I remember right, you turn the fists that way, and just start rotating everything up in here. That will bring out a new hinge right there to peg those into. Now you've successfully turned his leg into a foot. And make sure you lock the shoulders in like that for this mode. Again, get in here, open this up, rotate the fist like that so the back of the hand is facing out. Start rotating all of this up and in until you get to the second H tab there. And there we've got the other soon-to-be leg done. Go ahead and unclip these from these spots right here in the shoulder. And once this is down enough, the section will actually rotate around. Just turn those around like that. Actually, really quick while we're here, go ahead and take the wings here. They will just fold around and clip into those spots where the shoulders used to be. So, just get this part done real quick. Then rotate these back down. Gonna come to the legs while being careful not to throw the whole setup on the ground here. Open up this little panel here, which will let you fold this section up. This little peg will slot in there. Then for just a moment, go ahead and open this whole section up. Go ahead and fold the foot or the ankle into the foot. Same thing on this side. Open this up. Accordion everything up and do all that. Just kind of put the legs beside each other. Make sure you've got the knees unpinned there. Oh, and really quick before we do that, come up to these sections, fold them down, then get the little birdie mode arm out of the way. This little white section is a double hinge, so you're going to shift these up and over, and then this top slot here will actually slot in right there in the middle of the chest. Then same thing on this side. Up and over, slot in. We'll finish dealing with the birdie arms here in a second. But first thing is to just go ahead and fold. Try to keep these legs as out of the way as you can. Fold this whole section up and around. You are actually going to use that ab crunch to get things positioned in this mode. But stop trying to knock over the backdrop. But once you've got all that folded up and over, just kind of mess with things until this tab here, or this slot here, lines up with this clip that was holding the shoulders in place, and it will eventually lock in. It's a tight connection, so sometimes you get a satisfying little click like that one. Sometimes it just goes in and you don't hear anything. But go ahead and fold these up until they click in as well. Then go ahead and actually take the shield and the little shield handle. Place the shield handle on like that so that it's low profile. Fold this up and peg it together. Then right here you've got these slots here. You will take the tail, slide it in there, and then these little pieces right here will actually get locked onto by the knee covers. His feet do just kind of hang out here, as far as I can tell from the directions. But that is what it is. Go ahead and here, let's put the wings in the back so we can actually have some room to operate here. Rotate the legs down. There's a little slot here. Tabs on over there. Then get the birdie arm situated. Same thing on the other side. My arms are so tired from holding this guy up in the air this whole time. Then last thing to do is actually come to the feet and just split the claws. Okay, and there we have Deathsaurus in his Deathsaurus-y mode. It's a big turkey. This thing is a big, angry turkey. And I love him. He's so goofy, but so cool. Posability on him is pretty stinking great. Mouth opens up. There is a spot in the mouth to plug in a blast effect. Got a hinge right there. And then this piece on the back will just kind of act as filler. It'll also kind of lock the head into certain positions. Wings are unchanged from the robot mode. You got a little universal joint right here in these shoulders for the birdie arm. Rotation right there. Full range on the elbow because of how it transforms. The leg articulation is basically the same as the arms, since it is the arms. Only thing that's new is you can rotate the foot here. You've got a hinge there and a little bit of motion from the back section there. But yeah, this guy is stupidly big. So we have to do a lot of these floating shots, which again, I am sorry. I was trying to do something a little bit, nicer, more proper for this guy. I just couldn't. He's too big, but I still wanted to talk about him because I love this thing. Really quick, just to show, if I can find the correct spot to plug it in. I think I've got this on backwards. This little piece right here goes up in between the feet, pegs on, kind of center mass like that, so that you can go ahead and pop him on here, put him on the display stand in a flying pose. I don't think this mode will ever look intimidating, but it will at least look fun like this. So, as best as I can do, that is the Transformers Haslab Deathsaurus. There's not a lot of point in saying go get this guy, since, it's not a readily available thing at this stage. But, down the road, if you happen to come across one of these guys being sold on eBay or something for a not insane price, and you didn't get him the first time around, yeah, he's really He's really fun. So, thank you guys for watching this janky video. Hopefully the next thing I review will actually fit in the frame. Bye.